Welcome back to Savvypreneurship, the channel that brings you insights from top entrepreneurs and experts. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Petrona Joseph, a renowned communication strategist and mental health advocate. Welcome to this segment.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Let's start with your background in communication strategy. So you have over a decade of experience in areas like media relations and strategic product placement. What drew you to this field initially?
Well, I mean, you knew me as well from the car business. So the car business threw me in, working for brands, a lot of premium brands. I decided, you know what, let me transfer these skills. But I transferred those skills into primarily entrepreneurial skills. And one day ended up on TV. So when I was on TV, I remember saying to myself, my Barbies were never on TV. My Barbies were always very serious, business oriented. So the connection just didn't sit well with me. I was never a person seeking fame. I really wanted to be hands-on, hardworking. So then I took all the media contacts that I had from being on television and radio and doing circuits. And then I started then exporting those contacts. When I first started, I used to charge about $25 an hour, exporting my media contacts. And then that grew into doing press releases, doing media relations, organizing press conferences. And here we are 8 years later, right? 2 years ago, I said, you know what? I can't keep doing all of the million things that I do all the time. Being a blogger, doing this, going here, volunteering. So then I said, you know what? Let me focus 100% on media relations, communication strategies, public relations. And then I do have the subsets where I do give mental health speeches around the world.
Fantastic. Now, you've built an impressive career, but you're also an accomplished author and mental health advocate.
Yes.
What inspired you to use that platform to raise awareness around mental illness?
Because one day I was driving, I think it was on the 610 West in Canada. And I remember I had this thing. I didn't like being on highways at night because I knew I suffered with panic attacks. And James, you know me from the car business. I mean, I used to drive in Sports Plus. People used to say you need to slow down driving. So I was always used to large highways, but all of a sudden, I think in 2000, maybe 2007, 2008, I started having a lot of anxiety, right? And during the pandemic, a friend of mine invited me to come swim at her pool, have a beautiful evening. And I remember looking and I'm like, as soon as the sun goes down, I'm out of here because there's no way I want to be on the highway at night, going back to Little Italy, downtown Montreal.
Right.
So I was literally entering the highway and I started having the panic attack and my heart starts shaking. So I slowed down. Normally when I have panic attacks on highways, I put my blinkers on and I go in the middle lane. But in this particular instance, there's a driver behind me and he kept honking me and honking me and honking me. And my panic attack got worse, right? I made it home, thank God. And then I posted on Facebook, hey guys, if you ever see somebody slowing down with their two blinkers on, maybe consider not only that they're lost, but consider that they're having a panic attack. So maybe just going the other lane.
Right.
I posted that and it got picked up by CJAD. It got picked up by, local stations.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I said, well, finally, the book that I've been working on, why don't I work on it? And I wrote the book really from the mindset of someone who goes through anxiety, who looks really put together on the outside, but also someone who deals with depression, so that people reading it will understand what, others are going through. Because a lot of the times people think, oh, this person just wants attention or just drama filled. No, there are people that suffer and people that take medication. So my emphasis on the book is where I was told not to take medication for many years, almost 10. And then when I finally started taking medication, it helped save my life.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And how long did it take you to put together the book?
About a year.
Okay.
About a year. Yeah. And then I left Montreal to do like a writer's retreat. I went and I spent 2 months in a small city, and I finished up the book there. And I just want to give a little shout out to Sherry Reinhardt in Montreal. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know Shari, right? So Shari helped me edit the book. Shari helped me, guided me, and I am hoping to release a follow-up book because it's been 3 years that I haven't been on medication. So I can definitely tell
Awesome.
you,
Yeah.
yes, being on medication, it helped regulate a lot of things. It's not
Okay.
an all in all, but at least now I can take the escalators at malls. I couldn't take the escalators at malls.
Oh goodness. Wow.
That's how
Okay.
bad my anxiety was. But now I could do it.
Wow. What? That's quite a step forward, eh? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And based on your experiences speaking at panels and events, which I've noticed you've done for a good number of years, what are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions you've encountered regarding mental illness?
Number one, she's faking it or he's faking it. Number two, when somebody calls somebody up and says, you know what, I want to die, I want to commit suicide, not taking that seriously, again, thinking that person is just being drama filled. There was an instance in Montreal that I heard about this young man who took his life. God bless his soul, and, condolences to his family. He did call a friend before doing it, and the friend told other people, oh, he's just filled of drama. Oh, he's just exaggerating. No, take people seriously.
And I guess even people who are always keep smiling at you, you never know what's going through their minds, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We've had circumstances. I've gotten calls, where people, you see them on social media, you see them online, and then they're messaging me or calling me saying, well, I have my medication right in front of me, but I feel like if I take it, I'm a failure. So, could you stay on the phone with me while I take my first antidepressant? There's still a lot of stigma. If you notice on my LinkedIn, I don't post my mental health activities. I took down my book because a client of mine told me, she said, I didn't want to judge you. I wanted to work with you before and then read your book. But then I thought to myself, oh my
Oh,
goodness, I am still stigmatized. And it's even worse for a Black woman. Most of my, co-speakers or co-mental health advocates, friends, they're white Caucasian men, right? So
right.
they have the patriarchy for them, they have everything working for them. So they're seen as heroes. But as a Black woman who has patriarchy against her, who has discrimination against her, I mean, I just stopped posting it.
Yeah, you have a lot to overcome, right? Yeah.
But you know what? I'm fit for it.
Yeah. Tell me about it. How can business leaders create a more supportive work environment for employees struggling with mental health issues?
Recognizing the signs. You see, in patriarchy and capitalism, we're taught that we have to work, 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 work,
Right.
work. Forget it if your grandmother's died. Just forget it if your dog. When my dog passed away, it took me 3 months to recover. And I remember people were still pushing me. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. I think that we should express compassion. I've had a team and I've had many occasions where I see signs. So also understanding the signs. Perhaps this person is overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed, it's the cusp to being depressed, to experience anxiety, and
Right.
instead of pushing, maybe balance out the work. Employees are overworked. I worked for a large PR firm, and I remember I think I had 7 accounts, and it was just go, 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 go. And I remember telling human resources, I said, I am overwhelmed. They did not listen to me, right? And as a subsequent, I ended up burning out,
Oh my goodness. Wow.
right?
So that's when you left and you went on your own, correct?
I was let go after my book came out too.
Oh, yeah. Was that one of the causes? Oh,
Yes, I believe so. I do believe that although they were very supportive of me writing a book on mental health and overcoming mental illness, I do believe that I was highly stigmatized.
well, you've achieved quite so much across your multifaceted careers.
Thank
What's
you.
one piece of advice that you'd give young professionals looking to follow your footsteps?
Find one thing and stick with it. If you're a creative, you may be prone, because I'm a creative, right? And there's nothing I don't think I can learn. For example, when I was in the car business at one point, I remember having to go deliver a Bentley. And my manager came and she's like, could you go deliver this Bentley to this A plus plus celebrity? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Then I sat down in the car and then I couldn't really explain it. So then that was a learning curve to me. When you're creative, you think you can do everything and you want to do everything, but finding one thing and sticking with it is very important, because you need to be able to lay a foundation for yourself. You need to also expand into something, because when you lay that foundation, then later on, like yourself, you're an entrepreneur, so now you're consulting, you're doing other things. Another thing I would say is take the risk on yourself. Okay, take the risk on yourself. When I had a grocery store, which was my first business, I was laughed at. The banks didn't want to lend me any money, but I just kept knocking, and it was the worst disaster of my life, but it was the best business decision, because I decided to take a risk on myself. Even expanding for public relations in the US, I had no idea what I would encounter, but I knew I had to do it. And in 2 months, I've acquired more connections, more expansions that I would have ever experienced if I didn't make the risk.
Amazing. Yeah. So you basically weren't giving up, right? You were quite relentless, and you wanted to prove to
Sometimes I want
yourself
to
and
give
then
up.
eventually others as well what your capabilities were. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes I want to give up. I'm sure you as an entrepreneur, but there's something inside of us that maybe see the larger picture, right? And we have no option. We can't give up.
And you also have fire in the belly.
Is that a Greek expression?
No, that's an entrepreneurial expression.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I
A
like that.
committed entrepreneur has fire in the belly. That's
Oh,
what
I
keeps
like
him or
that.
her going. Yeah.
I do like that.
I understand that you're also very well versed in the luxury domain.
Yes, not as much as before, because
Okay.
the more you do research on a lot of these brands, and the more, like Chanel, I was just thinking the other day, I said I would never invest in a Chanel bag, but there is a luxury brand out of Paris that I love. It came from car seats. It's called Delage. I'm sure you never heard of it, but it's called quiet luxury. So I
Yeah.
moved over into the quiet luxury. I don't enjoy showing off brands like Jimmy Choo's unless it's Louboutin. Louboutin
Those
embraced,
are your favorite pumps.
but he embraced diversity.
Yeah.
He's Afro descendant. A lot of people don't know Christian Louboutin. He's Afro descendant, but he embraces diversity. The other day, there was Bethany Frankel, one of the housewives of New York, going around. I don't know if you're on TikTok, but she showed the level of discrimination people experience at Chanel. So why would I support that, right? But I do enjoy luxury hotels. I enjoy luxury vacations.
Who wouldn't, right? Yeah.
So instead of spending the money on just a luxury item for like 6 grand,
You spend it on experiences
I rather go to one of the
and
best
memories.
hotels in Turks and Caicos, which I did. You know what I mean? I rather go have an all-out fine dining experience at Nobu. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Which we don't have in Montreal, but you basically travel, so you find one in New York. I guess even Atlanta and Miami
Yeah,
definitely
we
has a
have a
Noble.
Nobu
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah. But we don't have one in Montreal yet. Yet.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But you do have, the Four Seasons. I can go on and on. There's Palma,
Yes.
Moretti,
That's right. Correct. Yeah. What's your take on Hermes's policy, whereby in order for you to earn a Birkin bag, you have to spend a whole bunch of money, and then they put you on the list, and then hopefully you get one. Is that fair game?
I think that that's the levels of luxury, right? There's different levels of luxury, but I do appreciate that, because what that means is that there's certain privileges that come with luxury. You don't want to be walking around with everyone carrying the same bag or everyone having access, right? So they understand having certain luxury brands or certain caliber of brands, right? You wear it on your face, you wear it on your shoulder. It demands a certain level of privilege. Being an Afro descendant, not from privilege, I get it. So if you have it, flaunt it. If you could wait on that list, if you could splurge 50 grand for a Birkin, more power to you. That just means that you understood capitalism and the system is working for you. So bravo.
I bring this up because Hermes is getting sued in Los Angeles
Oh,
by a few customers complaining that it's considered discrimination that they're not able to buy a Birkin bag without having to earn it.
well, that means they don't understand patriarchy and they don't understand capitalism.
Apparently not. Apparently not. Yeah, I think they're
they're
going to lose the
they're
case.
fighting a system that's already in place. It's patriarchy is not working for them. They don't understand, especially capitalism,
Right.
right? It's a place like Los Angeles, you're able to become an overnight success. You have so many avenues where there's influencers paying 20 grand for their lofts. There's influencers driving Lamborghinis in
Imagine
Los
that. Yeah.
Angeles, right? So if someone has entered that level of tax bracket or that echelon of high earning income, the capitalist system works for them, right? Now, for the ones that, the le nouveau riche, or the people that just really recently acquired wealth,
Right. New
they
money.
may
Yeah.
they may fight certain aspects of capitalism or patriarchy. So anybody that's suing Hermes just don't understand the concepts of uh, earned luxury, but also old money. I'm not from money. I'm not from old money. I wouldn't even
You made
consider
your own money.
myself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even consider myself nouveau riche. I'm just a hardworking woman that understands certain levels of capitalism. So
And
good
it's
for
not
them,
easy. It's not easy,
right?
especially when you're a single person, right? It's not easy because you
Sure,
have to, yeah, you have to do everything on your own.
sure.
You don't
Who
have
said
the
I'm
support.
single?
You behave like you're single, Petrona.
Yes.
You
There's a lot of
know?
people online that behave like they're single, but they're not.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to keep a low profile, right?
It is. Privacy is
Why flaunt
everything.
everything, right?
Yes.
What's your take on? You mentioned influencers. What's your take on influencers? Are they worth? Is it worth it for a company to spend the money on an influencer?
Not all the time. You could pay an influencer, I mean, 100 grand and not get even one sale. I think the misconception in hiring influencers is thinking that an influencer is always going to bring you an ROI. I know that there are key influencers in Montreal who bring in the ROI from experience, but I've also had experiences of working with influencers, and they're just hard to work with sometimes. They don't always hit the nail on deliverables. They're very, very entitled, you know and I just don't see the hype there. However, I am a big advocate for TikTok. So, TikTok has the earning fund. TikTok has so many different ways where influencers can make their money, and not only relying on brands, but also brands are very there's high levels of superficialism.
Hmm.
Brands take influencers for granted. Content creation is one thing. So you have your
Right.
digital creators, then you have your influencers, right? I've even heard of someone hiring, I think it was Kylie Jenner. And so I was in a meeting, there was a housewife and there was a product involved. And, somebody mentioned, oh, you should reach out to so and so. And she's like, in the past, I've given products even to Kylie Jenner and it's just not fruitful. However, again, it's a one off because you never know. There's influencers. You know who's the number one trending influencer right now? She's on TikTok. Let me see. I can't remember her name.
Hmm.
Alex Earl. So
Okay.
if you ever
How
get,
many followers does she have?
maybe I think in the millions, either she has 5
Yeah.
million or 6 million. But Alex Earl, we did a case study on her. She is the true definition of an influencer. Everything she wears, if she puts it on her TikTok or if she posts it, it's sold out.
Amazing.
Where she
So
goes, it's sold out. Her hair, when she styles it, it's copied.
So influencers are less expensive than a celebrity endorsement, right?
So
I would
now
think.
what you
Yeah.
have, you do have celebrities who are making less money who have taken the place of influencers. So Cardi B said it well. Cardi B
Really? Oh,
says, yeah,
that's
Cardi B is
interesting.
like, why would a brand pay an influencer if they could pay a celebrity the same amount of money?
That's a good statement. Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's a very
That's,
interesting space right now. Again, engagement for marketing purposes, influencers are great, but as sales generators, you never know. Even when I started off, I remember there were some brands, it was a hit or miss for me. Even with experiences, someone would say, oh, Petrona, could you come to my salon, or could you come here for this experience and post about it? Depending on the amount of views, depending on engagement, they may get one or two. But there are brands, for example, I wear a shoe brand. Okay, it's handmade,
right.
and very exclusive. So you're never going to go to a party with the same person wearing the shoes. Okay, it's branded by Molly, and I was shocked. Someone that I knew after, and I tell people it takes a lot of time. Influence marketing, it's repetition. It's the same thing as marketing. They may not want to go buy right away. So that's another aspect of marketing. People may not buy right away, but at least they get exposed to the brand, they see it on repetition, and then when they're ready to take action, then they go buy it.
Yeah. That's how it works. Yeah.
But influencers are great for on location activations. That's one thing. So I deal with a lot of that. If there's an event, there's some influencers that are very key to certain events, because if you do it right, then not only does it increase your following, but it creates a buzz. I love creating buzz. Coming from the media, so a lot of people, they're like, oh, could you have the media on location? That's great. But a lot of people don't even watch TV anymore.
No, they're on their devices, right?
So
So
Bravo
that.
Television in Toronto, they're on TikTok from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. every morning. They
Oh gosh.
understood the game, right?
Right.
People aren't really watching TV, but if you have a good social media strategy coinciding with your good public relations and media relations strategy, I mean, you can create buzz for days, even months.
For sure. So I understand that you're trilingual. So besides English and French, what's the third language?
Sì, parlo italiano.
Italiano. Oh,
Sì,
and
fa
you
lontano che non ha parlato, ma sì, parlo
and how
italiano.
did you get into the Italian language of all other languages? Like
Well,
I thought you were
it's
going to say Spanish or yeah.
Oh, I had a hard time with Spanish. I'm practicing now because in Miami everyone speaks Spanish. In
Right. There
Miami,
you go.
hop in an Uber and you say, "Hey, da da da," he says, "No hablas inglés,"
Come
right?
on. You're in
But no,
America.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
my first my what is it, a deck? Yeah, so I have my first deck, because I think I have two. So my first deck, I did literature and languages, and I had to choose between Italian, German, or Spanish. And I always loved the Italian language because I loved literature and I loved opera. So hence the reason why. And I love Italy. I remember one time being in Italy, being at the airport, and I
You've been
had
there
an
more than once?
yes,
Okay.
and I had an overnight. No, yes, I've been to Italy once. But I had like an overnight stay. For some reason, I ended up at the airport in Italy, and I remember thinking to myself, you know what? I can um I could just start a new life. Nobody will know. I was like, I have some money in the bank. I can convert it to euros. No, like nobody's gonna bother me. But yeah, I came back to Montreal. Yeah.
A woman like yourself, I'm surprised you haven't been to Dubai, or have you?
No, I haven't been. I just never
Okay.
had the Dubai pull. And just the other day, I saw a TikTok on Dubai, and I figured maybe one of these days, but I don't know.
What about Monaco, or the
Yeah,
French
Monaco
Riviera in
Grand
general?
Prix. It's big, huh? So yeah, maybe for the Grand Prix next year.
There you go. So you got to reserve a spot as of now for
Yes,
next year.
yes. As soon as the Canadian Grand Prix is finished, I'm already looking into the Miami Grand Prix and the Monaco Grand Prix.
Are you playing any certain role in this year's Montreal Grand Prix?
Yeah, we have 3 events going. So I have somebody on location in Montreal working the events.
Okay.
But if you are looking for recommendations, I will highly recommend you go to the Ritz-Carlton on Friday the 7th.
Friday the 7th. Okay. And for the party?
Yes.
Okay. And that reservations can still be made, or is that they're all booked up?
Tickets are still could be purchased. Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's quite a lavish event,
It
from what I
is.
recall.
It is. A
Yeah.
lot of opulence, a lot of fun. It's gotten better throughout the years, for sure.
Wonderful. Great insights, Petrona. For anyone wanting to learn more about you and your work, how can they communicate with you?
For my
In
work,
regards to communications or mental health advocacy, where can they find you online?
always better through LinkedIn.
Okay.
I believe in brick and mortar, so I don't showcase my work on social media. Maybe I should, but I just don't have the time. I'm just so busy with my clients. But if you Google me, you'll always see like my LinkedIn.
Your name will come up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are renowned after all. Yeah.
Well, I hope
So I'm
so.
not surprised.
I put in the work. I've been at this for years.
Unless you're the only one who's named Petrona, I don't know, but that's quite Petrona Joseph, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the link below for those who are interested in reaching out to you. Thank you again for joining me and sharing your invaluable expertise. I really appreciate you taking the time, Petrona.
My pleasure. And just
All
on
the
that
best to you.
note, our last article, we did it in 2014.
10 years ago. Wow.
It's been 10 years.
10 years. So perhaps maybe this is like our, celebrated 10th year anniversary. Yeah. Great to hook up with you again, to connect with you again.
Keep up the amazing work. Keep up the amazing work. You're inspiring.
Thank you so much. All the best to you. Keep moving forward.
Thank you.
And stay savvy.
Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mille grazie. Ciao.
And there you have it, Savvypreneurs. If you find this video insightful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on entrepreneurship, business strategy, and success tips. Until next time, stay savvy.